The whole country has been abuzz over one of the newest movies out there, Black Panther. This movie highlights a black superhero, and of course, that stands out because even today, black leading roles are fairly uncommon in Hollywood movies. And black superheroes, even more rare. And with absolutely no disrespect to that film, I would like to say, as your dad, if Hollywood really wanted to make a film about black superheroes, they would make a movie about Robert Smalls, a man whose heroism throughout his lifetime was straight up amazing, and he deserves the title of superhero. Hi, welcome to For My Kids. This channel is to share some amazing people, places, ideas, and thoughts that I really feel that my kids should know. And who knows, you and your kids should know them too. Today I want to highlight Robert Smalls. He was born into slavery in 1839 in Beaufort, South Carolina. His mother was a slave, and his father, we're not sure. But like many slaves' children at the time, his father might have been his owner, Henry McKay. But that's something we may never know. When Robert was just 12 years old, his owner, McKay, started running him out as a day laborer. And of course, Mr. McKay kept all of the money for himself. As Robert was interested in the sea, he started doing most of his work down by the shipyard at the Charleston docks. As a stevedore, he unloaded boats or did work on the dock, even eventually working on the boats themselves as a sailor, as a fisherman, as a sailmaker, whatever he could do to make it out to sea. And through his hard work, he became so familiar with the coastline of South Carolina that he became a skilled boat pilot, even though black men at the time would never have been called a pilot. He was probably called a wheelman. In 1856, he married his fellow slave, a hotel maid named Hannah Smith. She had 2 daughters of her own, and then together they had 2 more children, a son and a daughter. His son died at a very young age. One of the things that most people don't know is many slaves at the time were allowed to live in a home separate from their owners, and Robert and Hannah were able to do that. But of course, most of their pay still went to their owners. The Civil War literally started right outside Robert's front door at Fort Sumter in Charleston Harbor. The Confederacy knew of Robert's skill and put him into service as a wheelman above the CSS Planter, a sidewheel steamer that had been converted into an armed dispatch boat. The Planter delivered messages, letters, troops, and supplies, as well as laid mines, which they called torpedoes at the time. While Robert was a trusted member of the crew, and his piloting skills were valuable given his knowledge and experience with the coast. But like any human being who has been treated like a slave, Robert, he wanted to be free. And that was particularly true then because his wife's master had become abusive to her. And he was afraid that her master was going to sell Hannah away and he would never see her again. He tried to buy Hannah's freedom, but he didn't have enough money, so they had to escape to the north. And in May of 1862, he saw his opportunity to do that. Guys, I often tell you, close your mouth and open your eyes, and you'll learn something new. Well, Mr. Smalls did this and noticed that the Confederate officers made a habit every night of leaving the ship. So he and 8 other slaves aboard hatched this incredibly crazy plan. On May 12th, 1862, the Planter was docked in the Charleston Harbor, carrying a load of 4 cannons that were intended to add to the security of the city. But then, in the evening, like clockwork, these Confederate officers left the ship. Smalls and a crew of 8 took the boat, met their families at a pre-arranged spot in the harbor, and fled to the Union blockade. And you get this, it wasn't just a simple feat. If they had been caught, they would have been killed, executed on the spot. The harbor was well defended by 5 Confederate forts, each capable of completely destroying the boat. But Smalls knew all the proper signals because of his training. He even impersonated the captain, standing on the front of the boat. Once free of the harbor, they lowered the Confederate flag. Yet, they were nearly shot to pieces by the Federal blockade. The captain of the armed clipper USS Onboard, seeing the Confederate gunboat, ordered his guns ready. A crewman with binoculars saw Smalls and his friends waving frantically from the deck. Once the captain of the Onboard boarded the planter, Small reportedly asked if he had a flag for the ship that they could fly. Incredibly, Small's crazy plan had not only allowed him to steal a Confederate warship during a war from a well-defended harbor and delivered it to a Union officer, but he was able to deliver 9 families from slavery. Not even Black Panther could do something like this. Smalls became a hero to the Union, but the Confederacy put a $4,000 bounty on his head, which is equivalent in purchasing power to about $72,000 today. And he ended up serving as a pilot aboard several Union warships, including the now USS Planter. Having planted mines for the Confederacy, he now helped the Union disarm them. In 1883, a Navy report noted that he participated in 17 naval battles, including serving as a pilot on board the ironclad USS Kirkuk during the disastrous attack on Charleston in April 7th of 1863. There, the ship was savaged by Fort Sumter's guns and heavily damaged. The ship was able to withdraw under her own power, due in large part to Mr. Small's considerable piloting skills. In December of 1863, he was back on the USS Planter, where the steamer got caught in the crossfire between Union and Confederate troops near Folly Island. The captain of the boat panicked and ordered the boat to surrender, but Smalls refused, knowing that he and the other black sailors would face execution if they were captured. He took command of that ship and was able to navigate the boat outside the Confederate guns. For his heroism, he was made captain of the Planter, the first black man to command a U.S. ship. During the war, he engaged in other heroic acts as well. He was instrumental in convincing Abraham Lincoln and the Secretary of War, Edwin Stanton, along with Frederick Douglass, to allow recruitments of black soldiers in the United States Army, the Union Army. He supported efforts to raise money to educate former slaves, and he himself achieved literacy. In 2004, the U.S. Army named a logistics support vehicle, the USAV Major General Robert Smalls. It became the first U.S. Army vessel to be named after an African American. Through it all, he faced threats of violence, discrimination, and in the end, he even had to fight for his pension. It turns out that the first black captain of the United States, because of race, was never officially commissioned as an officer. Robert Smalls served through the Civil War, 17 engagements, technically, as a civilian. So never grow tired of doing good, kids. Remember, good men and women have gone before you. Be inspired by that. Robert Smalls died of diabetes in 1915 at the age of 75. On his monument, there is a quote from a statement he made at the South Carolina legislature in 1895. And it goes, "My race needs no special defense. Their history in this country proves them to be equal of any man, anywhere. All they need is an equal chance in the battle of life." Thank you for watching and learning with my kids. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did enjoy, please go ahead and click the thumbs up button on your left. If you got any questions or any comments, please feel free to write those down in the comment section below. I'm happy to respond. If you would like to learn more things that I believe my kids should know from the African American point of view, all you need to do is subscribe. Have a great day.